This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good morning, everybody, and sorry for the delay. It is the regular board meeting, February 10th, 2022. Normally we start at 9 a.m., but due to difficulties beyond our control, we are a little behind this morning, and we're going to call it at 9:18. As we get ready for the meeting, just an initial comment in order, because this is considered a hybrid style meeting now that we have entered into. There are some initial comments that we are just going to make. Anybody who would join us this morning in the boardroom, we would just ask that you are required to wear a mask at this time. If that doesn't work for you, we can ask you to either grab a mask over there or you'd have to join us remotely. The way we're going to take public comments this morning as we get to the public comment forum is we will check with our folks to see if we received any comments prior to the meeting in advance. If we do, we'll read those during the comment section of the meeting. I'll look to the virtual wall. If you've got questions, comments that you'd like to address to the board when we get there, just signify on the board through the chat. One of our folks online will be able to get that and you get the opportunity to speak. And if you're in the audience this morning when we get to the public forum aspect, to get that opportunity. So with that being said, we are in order. Let's go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Again, I apologize for the delay, folks. It was something we were having some internet issues. It seems to be specifically this room. I don't know why, but things happen. We were able to work through it, and hey, we're all here now. So with that being said, as we move down to the agenda, if you all have a copy of it either electronically or in your hand, we are at item number 3 on today's agenda. It is the agenda approval process. So at this time, what I would do is look to the staff and look to everybody here. Is there anything else, additions, subtractions we need to know before we make a motion to approve?
There was just one change to the minutes from January 27th, in that it was written in the minutes that Jordan Stevens was present, but it was actually Jack Paulus. So that's been edited. No other changes to the agenda.
Okay. And nothing else. I'll look to my fellow commissioner.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, there's the first for approval of the agenda today as amended. I will go ahead and second that. I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are done on that. We're going to go ahead and move on down to the consent agenda items. As you've seen on here, the consent agenda items are items that the Board of Commissioners have looked at previously. And so we are just in the perspective of we're going to approve those. They've been looked at by legal, by staff, or I won't say legal as much, but they follow legal, but they have been reviewed by the individual court commissioner. So with that, I'll look to the commissioner for a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve consent items A through I.
So there is a motion on the floor for consent agendas A through I, which I will go ahead and second that motion to approve the consent agenda items. Any further discussion? None from my fellow commissioner. I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's approved. Okay, we're making up for lost time apparently this morning. So we're down to the public forum aspect. This is an opportunity for folks to go ahead and speak to the Board of Commissioners on anything that may be on the agenda, or if they have questions that may not be there. I'll look to staff.
Nothing was received prior.
So we received nothing prior. I'll look up on the board as far as the virtual wall. I don't see it lighting up. I don't see anybody waving frantically, saying they would like to talk, but they're having technical difficulties. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move into it. Do we have any public comments this morning from anybody in the audience? Nobody's coming forward. I'm going to go ahead and close the public forum aspect of this meeting. We're going to move down to, as you can see, item 6 is old business. There is nothing there. So we're going to move on to item 7, which is new business. We have 3 items on the agenda this morning. The first one being I think it's the Fagerly annexation. So we're going to open that up and turn it over to staff to bring us up to speed.
All right. So the district received a petition for annexation for 3 parcels that are on 20th Street Southeast when it turns into Williams Road. looking at, can't remember the acreage, sorry, but the first step in the annexation process is an agreement for reimbursing the district for the cost of annexation. So district staff in engineering has looked at the agreement and recommends it for approval.
Okay. Looking at that, I would look to my fellow commissioners. If there's any questions, comments, concerns?
No,
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Fairleigh annexation as presented.
So there's a motion on the floor for the request. I'll go ahead and second that request for the Fairleigh annexation. No further discussion. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on down, we have resolution number 2021, increase in annexation deposits to $1,500. And I'm going to look to staff to bring everybody up to speed on that.
So resolution 2021 is in proposal to increase our annexation deposit from $700 to $1,500. The deposit has been in place since 1982, and we haven't adjusted it. And going back through our aging accounts reports, most of the outstanding balances for annexations exceed $1,500. So this this ensures that should an annexation fall through and the proponent goes away, that the district is able to recapture the majority of those costs. So the legal has reviewed the resolution and district staff recommends it for approval.
Okay. And I would just make one correction. On the front cover, it says 2021. It's actually resolution number 1021. So sorry for that if some people are confused where we're at, but resolution number 1021 is the resolution for the Board of Commissioners increasing the annexation deposit and repealing resolution 353. So that is been clarified for everybody. So any other comments by my fellow commissioners?
No, the only comment I'd make is it's based on actuals as we've gone through and done a regression analysis, and it collects the majority of it, but on average, not all of it. So it kind of trues us up a little bit, reduces the risk based on the fact pattern presented. So I have no problem.
Okay.
You happy?
I'm happy.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve resolution at number 1021, increasing annexation deposit to $1,500.
So there is a motion for resolution 1021 as stated by Commissioner Koshi. I will go ahead and second that motion for that resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And last but not least, on new business is item C. It's the 2022 commercial sewer rates and GFC review scope and fee to FCS Group for 39330. And I'll look to staff to bring us up to speed on that.
The districts reached out to FCS Group in connection with our comp plan to take a deeper look at our commercial GFC calculations as well as our commercial billing structure. They have a pretty wide breadth of knowledge on what other entities use as far as GFC calculations. Right now, the district isn't very confident that we have the most equitable billing structure for our commercial customers. So FCS Group has given us a proposal to take a deeper look at that. District staff definitely recommends this for approval.
And this is, I believe this is actually, this has been discussed at the utility meeting with our city partners, and that was something I think Councilmember Peter Sagan had brought up once or twice, and so seems to make sense, and we've acted on that, so I'm all right.
Yep, no, I would concur with that. So,
And I should mention that the cost, that the scope and fee, the cost of the proposal is $39,330.
yes.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the general manager, assistant general manager to sign the agreement for the 2022 commercial sewer rate and GFC review scope and fee of $39,330 to FCS Group.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor for that, as it was presented to the commissioners, reviewed by legal and staff with the recommendation. I will go ahead and second that motion. So any further? Not hearing any, it meets the requirements. That's who we need to be able to work under. So I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Well, we're moving on down to the manager's report. So
All right.
we're going to look to the general manager.
Okay, our caring by sharing program has 1,187.99 in it. That's enough to help 13 families. This past couple weeks, we have turned in an application for consideration to enter into an agreement with Snohomish County to be able to offer our customers LIWAP, which is the Low Income Housing Water Assistance Program, which allows customers to qualify at 150% of the federal low income poverty level, up to $2,500 on their sewer outstanding bill. So that is money that's actually coming from CARES funding that was given to the Department of Commerce. So we're trying to enter into that to give that benefit to some of our customers. And PDS discharge permit application was submitted last week as well. So we are waiting for negotiations on where we stand on that one. We have a job posting that's going out today for a wastewater treatment plant operator in training. Flows at the plant are 3.4 million gallons a day. We have the calcium carbonate project. It's up and running. We had a few hiccups at startup, but we've gotten some great customer service from Columbia River Carbonates, and they came and fixed pumps and everything, and we're up and moving now. So that's an exciting project to start. We've also had SUAs on site for a couple days now for membrane maintenance, and so they've also been very helpful in getting us back up and running with our membranes software with that, but also with our UPs while they were here. And then boilers continue to be an issue. They're requiring almost nightly alarms and call outs, but parts are delayed due to supply chain issues. So as soon as that's in place, we hope to have the fix we need on those guys. But that is it, unless there's questions.
Oh, perfect. Excellent, thank you. I guess, our 3.4 million gallons a day makes me feel good compared to that little thing we saw the other night up there for Whatcom under Waswa. They had some serious overflow due to the storms that they had in north part of the state. So I'm just very fortunate. We have been very, very, very fortunate. So thank you. The assistant general manager.
All right. So to date, the district's collected 35 connection fees, and that was issued 30 permits. Today we'll be advertising bids for a repair to the backpulse piping at the treatment plant. It's sprung a pretty severe leak, and there's some pretty nasty chemicals that run through there. So we're getting that repaired now, or trying to get that repaired. And we also have an advertisement for bids to have the mixed liquor suspended solids pump repaired or rebuilt from the treatment plant as well. And that's all I got.
The plant is aging.
It's, yeah, yeah, it's got some old equipment that.
Well, it's, I mean, it still looks,
Oh,
I mean, our folks keep that place up top notch. But it is, I mean, there's some aging that goes on within it, especially when we're putting the kind of flows through it that we're putting through it. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. City report.
So Gene unfortunately wasn't able to make it, but he sent over, and they're working on Millspur still, Industrial Street. Hope to have that completed in the next 2 months.
Okay. I'll look to Councilmember Peter Shagan. He generally has some good words of wisdom, so the floor is yours.
Generally speaking, thank you. I would like commissioners for commissioning the FCS study regarding the commercial rates, so that's great to hear. The only other thing two other things I would add, the city is busy testifying before the Senate Transportation Committee today regarding funding for the trestle. And so the mayor is done with the meeting with the Association of Washington Cities Mayors Group, and Councilmember Ewing is testifying a little bit later this morning in regards to the transportation improvements. And the only other thing is we have our annual retreat tomorrow and Saturday. The public is invited to that via Zoom or in person, so certainly anyone is available to that would like to attend that is welcome. And that's all we have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you guys in your retreat locally? Are you guys here or are you guys out of town?
We are down at Edmonds at the Senior Center starting about 9 o'clock on Friday until about 4 o'clock. And one of the purposes of that is to tour that facility to get an idea for some potential for improvements to the Senior Center. And then on Saturday, we are up in Monroe at a restaurant that I don't have in front of me. But yes, the Senior Center in Monroe is 220 Railroad Avenue. It's right next to the ferry terminal in Edmonds. So apparently it's a newer facility. And again, part of the reason for that is to tour that facility. So.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving on down commissioners reports.
Yeah,
We might have some good time. I can't see the column, but yeah.
We'll keep it short.
No worries.
The WASWAD meeting where folks up at Lake Whatcom dealt with those emergency situations, and some of the pictures were caused a lot of stress just looking at those things. So I just, one of the things that you see something like that, it's always an opportunity. I know we have emergency procedures in hand and maybe a chance to partner with them and say, here's what we got. You guys just went through this and are still recovering. Can you help us poke holes in this? Is there any scenario analysis we should do on, where our vulnerabilities are in terms of environmental, and just why it's fresh with a fellow member there that's similar size to us as well. I just wouldn't want to lose the opportunity, and we might already be on it. That was just one thought I had the other night, listening to that and feeling stressed.
Well, yeah.
When you see water cascading out of manholes like a foot high into Lake Whatcom, I visualize Lake Stevens. Yeah, it causes some serious opportunity captures and learnings maybe. So that's all I got.
Yes. No, I would agree. I mean, they are very similar. I mean, I think they have a few more pump stations, but inherently that's the same topography we're dealing with. Everything has to be pumped some which way, and we do have some aging infrastructures out there that could cause us a little bit of consternation because
especially over in the north. I mean, I know that it's the geographically farthest spot, or almost, from the plant. It's got to go through a whole lot of pipe, a whole lot of pump stations to get it to the plant. It's the lowest part in the system, or it's the one that floods all the time. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm happy to run around with my Colt gun, on those man, but that's probably not going to be enough.
Well, then it ends up in people's houses.
Right. Yeah. The nice and the bad thing about water is it'll solve it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll solve it for you.
Yep.
no, it's just one of those things that's good to go through and just kind of I mean, I think we were fortunate because I think some of our plans already include using a lot of the, like Tenelco does something, we can call a lot of them out. They're very close.
I'd even say some of our, if they're willing to head on up there, we'll buy them lunch, whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I would really look at is the pumps. The amount of flow they were pushing through their systems, causing redundancies to go down, and then trying to locate pumps. I mean, I know that we always have the downtown one, and we have ours. This last time we had rented a generator. It's nice to just be able to think, what if? Because an event like that, I don't think that we're going to see every.
Yeah, we aren't going to make it through unscathed.
Yeah.
You're just not. But it's okay. How do we? What can we
Mitigate
do
to the best of our.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, excellent. That's not all I have on that, but we're going on to the next item, which is going to the Commissioner's position number 2 candidate interviews. As most of you can see, there's only 2 of us sitting here, and generally there are 3. We did have a commissioner that took another opportunity and therefore left the district, and so we're in the process of trying to find a candidate to do that. For those that are joining us this morning and may not know previously, we did have 3 candidates that have applied for the position. The candidates have all submitted information that we had asked for on the website when we put that out. So our candidates, if you're just joining us and this is the first time and you don't know who they may be, we have a Ms. Andrea Wright, a Ms. Joyce Copley, and a Mr. Jeremy Todd Welch that have applied for the position. We're going to ask each of the candidates this morning to speak. We have 4 questions, and each get an opportunity to answer these 4 questions that we have done. I know that in each way different form and context that some of the candidates have reached out to us and spoken to us individually. So as we get ready for that, what I would just ask that each candidate, out of the respect for the other candidate, though you're not obligated to, when that candidate is going through their questions, you can recuse yourself and just kind of turn your volume off. Like I said, it's voluntary. You don't have to excuse yourself for that. You can be part of listening to what each of them do, but each, like I said, we're just going based on each of the candidates that have applied and have reached out to us, and we've only had 3. To make it equitable this morning, we got the fancy little coffee cup. There are 3 pieces of paper in there with each person's name. So it's going to be randomly chosen. We have no real order. I mean, this is as scientific as we can get. I'll just kind of go like this, and I'll let my...
I didn't even know there was a coffee cup.
I don't know if it's the official coffee cup for the sewer district, but I'll let Commissioner Koshi pull the first one out.
I think I have only one.
Okay, so the first candidate this morning, we'll put a number 1 on this one.
Okay.
You'll pull number 2. We'll put a number 2 on this one. And obviously, if there's only 1 left, I'm pulling it up. I'm going to put a number 3. So the first candidate this morning, they stuck these things together. This thing's good. Is going to be Ms. Joyce Copley. You would be the first one up this morning. Then it would be followed by Ms. Andrea Wright. And then we have Mr. Welch. So that will be the order that we are going to take the interviews this morning. So with that being said, as we get started to do that, we will go ahead and start with the first candidate. If the first candidate is ready, can you hear us? We can see you, so I just wanted to double check. Okay. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. So, thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the opportunity to apply for the position of Commissioner for the Lake Stevens Sewer District. We appreciate that we have folks in the community willing and wanting to step up into public service. We know sometimes busy schedules, it makes it very hard. And sometimes in the arena that we're all in this day and age, it's hard to get people who want to step up because politically, sometimes it can be that way. Even though we are a nonpartisan position, we just operate a sewer district, or oversee. We don't operate it. You wouldn't leave any of the commissioners in charge, but we go from there. So with that being said, Ms. Copley, I will let Commissioner Koshi start with the first question, and we'll kind of go through it.
All right. So just to kind of
All right.
level set, there's 5 questions. They're the same questions that'll be asked to every candidate. And so here's question number 1. Why do you want to be a Lake Stevens Sewer District Commissioner, and what skills or experience will you bring to the position?
After hearing, first of all, for those who don't know me, my name is Joyce Copley. But first of all, I want to be a commissioner because I enjoy living in Lake Stevens. I love where I live. I voted for Jennifer. I think she did a great job, running her campaign. And I'm always looking for ways to give back. I now have more time to do that. I think that being a sewer commissioner could be another opportunity to get in and serve my community. And what skills do I have? I just recently resigned, back in the summer, from my previous job working for the city to pursue other things and to do other things and to take time to support my community, which I really enjoy doing. I had a great meeting at the Kwanzaa Club last night, visiting with the residents, and they're always a great opportunity to visit with them and get to know them. So the skills that I do have is having that public service in my past and having come from that. And there's so many capacities to serve and so many opportunities. So when someone messaged me and said, "Hey, Joyce, would you consider doing this?" And when it's an opportunity to serve my residents here at Lake Stevens, which I love and adore, I said yes. And I'm bringing those skill sets that I previously had into this and to, help it be better, in any way that I can.
Thank you.
Okay, so question number 2 is, can you explain the differences between a special purpose district and other government types, like a municipal government, and how are the executive and the legislative roles different?
So here in the city of Lake Stevens, we have a mayor and we have a city administrator. The city that I supported and worked for, the city of Shoreline, they had a mayor. They had Debbie Terry. She wasn't the city administrator, but she was more or less appointed by the council to run the city, and she had an assistant. So there's 2 different ways to go at this. You can have the people that are appointed by council, and you have elected officials. So that's how most of them are ran, either or.
Okay.
Number 3, tell us a little about what you know about the Lake Stevens Sewer District. For example, number of ERUs, operating budget, staffing levels, etc.
So I did take time out once I have decided to put in for this position to sit down with the current commissioners and ask them a lot of questions. So the questions that I asked them, they did answer. We didn't get into that depth, but I asked about the main concerns, the things they're worried about, so that I can be at least spun up on the current activity within the sewer district. So I did not hesitate to, I could read off everything that I asked them, but I don't know if we have time to do that. But I did go into depth and ask them questions that I felt how I could serve in the capacity that would be beneficial to the sewer district from their lands and what they needed me to do and how they wanted to have this position filled and what approach that they'd like to see done, because I want to make sure that the things that I didn't know, that I wrote it down and I asked them, and we wound up talking for hours, and I actually learned a lot more than I had paper for. So thank you, commissioners, for taking that time out to answer those questions. We didn't get into that depth, but we did get into some of the overall budgets and the concerns there.
Thank you.
Okay. Question number 4. Explain your view of the district's role in growth and the source of the district's capital funding.
So my understanding is the district's role in the district, everything is kind of encapsulated here. The sewer is different than the city. The sewer serves the city. So their capital, what they're doing is they have serviced the city, which means getting all the sewer done, getting everything in place the way it's supposed to be, and that costs money. So when you use that money or you use that budget while you're serving the city and while we're paying our monthly rates on that, there's certain, like the system, I live right off of 204, right over here next to Safeway, but there's the sewer district or the station is there. And so after hearing about all the things they have to do to keep the water clean, to keep it before it flush out, those all comes with money and budgeting. So I got a really good understanding as to what their capital budget is, what it does, and what they need it for. And so to me, that's their security as to how they can help function and help us go flush. So I learned a lot. It was great learning about that. But I could see that it seemed like even the capital budget, anytime you're working in government, the budget's going to be tight because you can only ask your taxpayers for so much. So you have to be creative with the funding and the money that you do got coming in to make it work for all residents. And that can be tricky. That's like walking a tightrope. So after talking to them, after looking in the sewer district's files and the agendas and stuff that I found out, it's, they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job. And I'm proud that they're servicing me.
Perfect, thank you.
That brings us to our last question. How do you feel ethical behavior applies to the position of a sewer district commissioner?
Ethical behavior should be applied to everyone in any public capacity. When you're carrying around that name, like I did for the city of Shoreline, I was not a resident for the city of Shoreline, but I was a representative for the city of Shoreline. So when I would meet with residents and I would talk with them, I have to keep in mind that I am representing that city. So here, as a Lake Stevens Sewer District, that's direct representation for that city. So I believe that if you're going to wear that badge or you're going to sit in that seat, you need to be held accountable.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
All right.
well, that is our first candidate. Our next candidate is Ms. Andrea Wright. She is joining us today inside the conference room. So as we get ready to go, we'll start in the same aspect, the same questions.
Want me to kick it off again?
You can kick it off.
This is right. Why do you want to be a Lake Stevens Sewer Commissioner, and what skills or experience will you bring to the position?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Years ago, I took the Seattle Underground tour, and one of the most fascinating parts of it was when they talked about the sewer system of Seattle. As you recall, it was a huge problem, and actually because of the tide and the ebb and flow, the sewer ran down the main streets of Seattle. That is so disgusting. But no one really wants to talk about the sewer until it's a huge problem or there's a major disaster. But I see the sewer district playing a very important role in Lake Stevens with accountability, fiscal awareness, and environmental responsibility. My background is in communications, and I've worked for the Salt Lake Olympic Committee in different roles where I've done public relations. I'm interested in being involved in the city because years ago, a development happened behind our house, and I was a little frustrated with my interaction with the city and some things that were turned a blind eye to. My interest is in that I feel like this is part of the greater good. I've attended past commissioner meetings, and I understand the responsibilities associated with the position. I don't come with an agenda. My concern is just that what happens at the sewer district affects the community, my family, and my neighbors. And I want to be a part of doing positive things. I'm open-minded and fair, and I ask questions about things I don't understand, and I want to hear and research all sides of a situation before making a decision. So I feel like I'm a strong candidate and represent the average citizen as a commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you. So,
You're writing this guy's mind.
well, yeah, I'm just trying to scratch it down real quick. I'm used to just making my own little shorthand per se. So, question number 2. Can you explain the difference between a special purpose district and other government types like a municipal corporation of a city? And how are the executive and legislative roles different?
So this is not my strong question, and I'm sorry. I do know that it is a special purpose district and it's a standalone entity, not associated with the city. You're partners with the city, you work together, but as far as the special purpose district, you have your own budget and your own responsibilities. That's what I have.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Number 3, tell us a little about what you know about the Lake Stevens Sewer District. For example, number of ERUs, operating budget, staffing levels, etc.
So I actually know quite a bit about the sewer district. I followed it for a number of years. I ran for commissioner years ago and have been interested because I do think it's the beginning process of development in the city. So right now you have just over 14,000 customers, 125 miles of pipe, 31 lift stations, and 64 years of experience. You run with about 28 employees, which is impressive because this amount of employees has stayed constant through the years, and you've been very fiscally aware of being able to do that while still managing more billings. So that treatment plant was built to serve 50,000 households, which we're nowhere near, but that is great. We're in a good situation still where you don't have to go ahead and build to phase 2 at this point. You've retired over $35 million in total debt since 2017, yet still servicing increased capacity. I feel like that's very impressive. One thing I like about the district is your environmental awareness. And the state auditor's office gave the district a clean financial report in the audits, which is, I mean, that is excellent. I also appreciate as a homeowner that you've kept the rates stable for 5 years. And I think everyone is grateful to you for doing that in a community that's growing a lot. I know that you own your own building, which is also a wonderful thing where the city's, looking to build a new facility. I'm grateful that you already have this taken care of, and so it isn't passed on to the ratepayers. And then, of course, the interlocal agreement where you'll merge with the city in 2033.
Thank you.
I think that wasn't too long, sir.
No, you got all the time. Each candidate has all the time they want to take. So, yeah. So the next question is, can you explain the view of the district's role in growth and the source of the district's capital funds?
So the district is critical in growth in the city. One thing that I feel like is concerning, and I realize this has nothing to do with the district, but it's just that, well, so our maintenance and operations have increased, right, by 30%. So the budget for 22 looks different. As far as growth, there's less commercial growth now in Lake Stevens than 10 years ago. I realize, again, the district doesn't promote that, but that is an issue, and it does deal with our costs as a district in total. As far as the view in growth, I looked at the current budget for this next year, and there's only projected revenue of $100,000, which I thought was very conservative when there's still so much growth in the community. Even with the limited buildable land, I just was surprised that the district doesn't forecast more revenue coming in when there's still so much ground being broken and things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
And number 5, how do you feel ethical behavior applies to the position of the sewer district commissioner?
I completely agree with Joyce that ethical behavior should be in all facets of life, whether you're a commissioner or just local citizen. I believe honesty is basically one of my paramount feelings just in life. As a commissioner, the citizens don't realize how much responsibility you really have and how they depend on you looking through a lens of clarity, of environmental protection, and fiscal responsibility, because what you do really affects this community long term. Just as you were, Kevin was talking about, the flooding up north. Even you considering right now, okay, what do we need to do to protect our community when that happens to us? It's huge. And so having that vision of this is the right thing to do is so important. And I respect what you and the past commissioners have done, and feel that ethics is probably one of the most important parts of the role.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Moving to our final thing.
Moving to, yeah. And as most know, this week kind of joke sometimes, as I usually tell people, most elected roles are only 6 years or 4 years long. Ours are 6, so it's more like a sentence than it really is a term. So, yeah. But our final individual, Mr. Todd Welch, it looks like he's joining us this morning. Good morning. Welcome to the interview. As you've probably heard, we're going to go ahead and read off for the questions that the other commissioners have the opportunity to also answer. So with that, I'll let Commissioner Koshy start.
Good morning.
Morning.
Question 1, why do you want to be a Lake Stevens Sewer District Commissioner, and what skills or experience do you bring to the position?
I want to be a commissioner because I've lived my life under public service, whether it was a military career, then to the Lake Stevens City Council, and a current planning commissioner. I've always been someone that looks out for public service in different ways. I've also been a member of a county advisory board many years ago. So it's something I've always looked to do, to volunteer myself and be part of the community. My qualifications go back from 8 years on the Lake Stevens City Council, where I was involved in, obviously, in stuff that even the sewer district's involved in. So I'm quite have intimate knowledge of all the policies that are currently going on. During that period, I also achieved the Advanced Certified Municipal Leader through the Association of Washington Cities. In the last 2 years, I've been on the Lake Stevens Planning Commission. So I have experience and knowledge that's directly related to this position. So I think that I could bring that to the commission and be quite effective and a great voice for the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So question number 2, can you explain the difference between a special purpose district and other government types like a municipal corporation, a city, and how are the executive and legislative roles different?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just speak mainly of the special purpose district is a very, they're limited in scope, usually fall under a certain more stringent guidelines. A city per se has a much larger governance of everybody in its geographical region, which scopes from your public works to your police, handles all the other ordinances, the growth management, the various agencies. Special purpose districts like a sewer district or the water PUD, Port Authority have very limited scope of work. They operate as you do, like as a commission. So you don't have a mayor or you don't have a council mayor form. The commission operates as the legislative body, and they hire managers to handle the day-to-day operations. So that would be my gist of it. That would be my best knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Question number 3, tell us a little about what you know about the Lake Stevens Sewer District. For example, number of ERUs, operating budget, staffing levels, etc.
Oh, what I know about the district is, I'd say employee count, you're just around 30 or just under 30. Obviously, it's got a larger geographical region than the physical city limits of Lake Stevens, but it's just the connection. So users towards people is, of course, a much different scope of work. I know you've had clean audits. I've been looking at the audit reports over the last few days, looking over the budget and everything like that, just to kind of familiarize myself with everything a little bit more. I have kept track of many of the meetings. I watch all the recorded meetings after every one, so I'm quite up to date with all the different agreements that are going on, the lift stations and the capital improvements that are currently happening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question 4, explain your view of the district's role in growth and the source of the district's capital funds.
Can you repeat the last part because it's kind of muffled?
Oh, sorry. I'll take that off just to yell it out. Explain your view of the district's role in growth and the source of the district's capital funds.
Sure. The district's on growth, it's best for the district to keep up with the comprehensive plan of the city and the county. You need to put your capital projects in the places where the growth is going to occur and what type of growth is going to happen. You need to understand the zoning, whether or not you're going to be doing low sewer connections for homes, whether or not you're going to need new lift stations, depending on where this is going to happen, since especially with Lake Stevens, you have a challenging topographic map between every part of the city and reaching the sewer plant. So how you get your I don't want to say product or service to everybody can be quite limited, and how you handle the capital projects is very important. A lot of people don't realize when we do capital projects, whether you're at the city and the county level or in the state, one of the most, maybe probably one of the most challenging and important parts is the sewer system, because nobody thinks about it. But it, obviously, no one goes anywhere without it. You can't build without it. So it needs to keep up with both how the state's viewing their growth, then the county, because the sewer district also covers the urban growth area, and also the city, so everybody is on the same page. So nothing gets left behind, that everything starts there first and you build on top of that. So it's to keep the cost down and to ensure that we're all meeting the same target, which is a proper management of our growth in our regional area, that everybody gets an effective system.
Thank you.
That brings us to question 5 and our last question. How do you feel ethical behavior applies to the position of sewer district commissioner?
Ethics is paramount. Honesty. Yeah, I spent 20 years in the Navy, and the Navy has core values: honor, courage, and commitment. Those should be eminent on anybody who's elected to office. When you have the public's trust, their money, you have an obligation, a duty to be honest, to have integrity, and to use it wisely, and also to use their trust and not to lose that trust. It's easier to admit to doing something incorrectly or making a mistake than to cover it up. Once you lose the people's trust, it is almost impossible to ever get it back. And that is the paramount duty. You always need to be as transparent as legally allowed, and try to go above. You want transparency to be as much open as you can under the law. And then you always need to be honest with the people. And if you have a conflict of interest, you need to let everybody know and make sure it's properly documented and everybody understands why you're not doing something. And it's just, you have to maintain that trust. People cannot like your opinion. We can have disagreements. We're supposed to. You wouldn't have a sewer commission of 3 if we just wanted one person's opinion. But no matter what your opinion is, you need to be honest with everybody, because that's the best way to do things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any, whoops. So with that being said, we appreciate each of the candidates that have joined us this morning. What we are going to do is allowed under state law is go into an executive session. So Commissioner Koshy and myself can have a conversation in regards to the three candidates that have applied this morning and see where we stand and if there would even be an opportunity to come out and have a consensus on choosing one of the three folks. I would look to our legal, who is up on the virtual wall, as I call it, because I can see quite a few of you there. She will give the exact RCW that gives us the authority to do that. I would say that we are going to start at probably for at least 20 minutes to begin with. We will extend if there needs to be more time at the end of the meeting. Well, there could be the possibility we will come out and make a decision. So we would say that each candidate check back in. Right now it's 10:09 according to Apple time. So we would say, I would say we would go to 10:30 and then each candidate could check back about that time if we extend or not. And if we do extend, we'll give another time where we're at, but we'll see if we can come up with that. So I'm going to turn it over to legal real quick to give all the little caveats to keep us out of trouble.
Sounds good. Mariah, quick question on just procedure. So should I keep my meeting window open so I can pop in to extend the session if needed, but then just, mute? Or do you have another suggestion?
We can have you can be part of it, Jordan, if you'd like to be in the meeting.
So what I was talking to Jordan about was, since we have a couple of the candidates popping in and we're have this idea that we probably will make a decision after executive session. So what I would like to do is be able to just turn off our mic and screen in here.
Okay.
Leave the meeting open so that they can't hear this part. We'll give Jordan a call so she's part of the exec session.
Okay.
And then everyone that's in person, not part of the exec session, would be excused for the exec session.
Okay.
That way we leave the meeting open for.
That's
So
great.
they can see, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll wait frantically like this on the wall, and the virtual wall when we're ready.
Yes.
Since everyone's right there. So
All right, I'm gonna
use the facilities real
while we
quick.
get
Okay.
situated, and then my attention span will improve.
Perfect. Okay, so the Lake Stevens Sewer District Commission will now recess into executive session at 10:10 a.m., which will conclude at 10:30 a.m. The purpose of the executive session is to evaluate the qualifications of candidates for appointment to elective office. At the conclusion of the executive session, the commission will resume the public portion of the meeting at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it, and we'll be back. I mean, sooner than later. But you know how electeds are.
Mariah?
You want to give my cell phone a call, or I can call you?
Yeah, I just sent you my direct number. Can I step out and do a quick bathroom break?
Yep.
Could you give me about 3 minutes before you call me?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
right, Mike's back on.
Okay, folks, it is 10:30. We're coming back into regular session from the executive session. There will be a decision to follow. Well, in theory, there will be, but we'll wait till everybody gets the opportunity to reconnect. So I'll wave, like I said, I was going to wave before as kind of an indication that we will be coming into a regular session. Good morning, staff. So I just want to make sure everybody is rejoin the meeting. So we'll give it, well, what is it? It's 10:30. Well, let's give it to 10:32, just in case some people have a different clock they're looking at, but we are back in regular session. And we're going to open it up for some discussion between the commissioners to see if there is some concurrence somewhere. But with that, I'll just give it a moment because I see that Mr. Welch has joined us. I'm not sure if Ms. Copley Copley, I think is how she was pronouncing it. So I'm sorry if I did not pronunciate that properly, but we'll let the rest of it. Okay, it looks like the candidates that have joined us this morning that have applied for the position. As we kind of go, I think that is everybody. We're present. I said to 10:32. Yep, it just clicked 10:32, so I kept my word. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for taking the opportunity to go through the process itself. I know that it's time consuming and sometimes we all decide whether we want to do those things, but I would open it to the floor, meaning the Board of Commissioners, to have some conversation and see if we can come up with something.
Yeah, I also like to thank the three candidates. Appreciate it. There's nothing like putting your hat in a ring for all the glory that comes with being a commissioner. At that point, I'll just be brief. I would make a motion that we appoint Andrea Wright as our commissioner for our open position.
So there is a motion on the floor to select Ms. Wright for the next position for position 2, which was vacated at that time by Commissioner Stevenson back in December. I will go ahead and second that the motion.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion on it? None. I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations to Ms. Wright being the candidate. Congratulations and thank you for all the other candidates that did apply. At this time, we are pretty much done for the day, other than I think we do have an oath of office that we will have our folks internally do before we do conclude the meeting for the day. So if Ms. Wright would like to come before the cameras over here, you can't be camera shy anymore because it is on the wall. And then we do have one of our administrative folks that will move forward.
I'll give you a copy, just, so Mary Coonrod is going to do the swearing in oath of office. Go ahead, Mary.
Please raise your right hand. Andrea Wright, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington, and that you will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of the Lake Stevens Sewer District Commissioner, position number 2, for a short term according to the law to the best of your ability? Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. That is it. There is no other executive sessions that are planned this morning. The only other thing that I would just mention, that I would just look to staff to probably set up a meeting in the near future to a workshop meeting, maybe to bring Commissioner Wright up to speed on some of this stuff, and then there can be conversations between the members now that she's an official elected for the Lake Stevens Sewer District. We cannot have sidebar conversations, as all of us know, because it would be a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act if we're not doing it in a public forum. So with that, I will wait till she signs because she gets to come up and actually be part of the voting process now as we make a motion to conclude the meeting today. So is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion that we conclude our meeting today.
How about a second?
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded to conclude the meeting today for February 10th, 2022, Board of Commissioner meeting for Lake Stevens Sewer District. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. Okay.
That,
Yeah.